As an intelligent consumer, I wanted to compare Atari asteroids with other companies' asteroids. But other companies don't make asteroids. I wanted to compare Atari Missile Command with other companies' missile commands. But other companies don't make that either. Finally, I wanted to compare the new Atari Warlords. Unfortunately, other companies don't make it. When it comes to the video games the world wants most, nobody compares to Atari.
Hello everyone, it's Kevin, and a few months ago, if you told me that I'd be making multiple Atari 2600 videos, I probably would have been confused. And it's not because I disliked the console or anything like that. I was born a Nintendo kid. The Atari 2600 was one of those systems I respected for its place in gaming history, but I never really thought about playing it. Then I made my first Atari video, and something unexpected happened. Not only did you guys recommend a ton of games, I actually started having fun with them. Like genuine fun, not just good for its age kind of fun. So once again, I dug through your recommendations and put together another list. These are 10 more Atari 2600 games chosen by the community that still hold up today. It is time to power on. Man, what kind of name is Panama Joe? Either way, this one surprised me. Montezuma's Revenge feels incredibly ambitious for the Atari 2600. Instead of chasing a score, you're exploring rooms, getting trolled, collecting keys, and trying to figure out where to go next. The controls are good for the system, but of course, he ain't no Mario. This feels much closer to an adventure game than most Atari titles though, and honestly, that's what makes it stand out. You can see developers trying to push beyond the typical arcade formula that the system was known for. This might be one of the earliest games with proper deaths by gravity. I definitely spend more time getting lost than I'd like to admit though, but that is part of the charm. I imagine that this game also has an ending, but I could be wrong. Turmoil is one of those games I have never heard of before reading your comments, and that's exactly what I love about these videos. Because every once in a while somebody recommends something completely off my radar. The concept in this one is simple. Move through the tunnels, avoid enemies, collect treasure. But once things start to speed up, the game becomes surprisingly intense. This is another example of Atari's simplicity done right. Easy to understand, yet hard to master. This is another game that has a story. Wow. I'll kind of quickly summarize it. The sun in the Alpha Rho system is about to explode, so the Cosmic Ark is trying to save as many alien creatures as possible before that happens. Along the way, meteor showers and planetary defenses make the mission dangerous. Your goal is to rescue the creatures and see how many planets you can reach before the Ark is destroyed. Cosmic Ark is a cool game. It does feel weird though, and I mean that in the best possible way. You're switching between gathering creatures and defending your ship. The presentation in this one is unique, the gameplay loop is different, and honestly, it feels unlike most of the other games I've played on the system. This one requires some multitasking for sure. Not every experiment worked on the Atari 2600, but this one definitely keeps things interesting, and it even has a secondary game type. It also has a 2-player mode if you have a friend. I don't. Astroblast is pure and simple arcade energy. There is no complicated setup in this one, there's no story, stuff is just flying at you and you need to blast the things. I feel like this would be better with paddle controls perhaps, because I didn't enjoy the controls in this one. The speed here really surprised me when I first played it though. The action kinda starts immediately and barely slows down. It looks like it'd be super addictive if I was able to get good, or get a paddle controller. Yet another Activision game, huh? Megamania feels like Atari's answer to the arcade shooters of the time. The enemy designs are weird, the action gets chaotic, and the difficulty ramps up quickly. But perhaps that's what actually makes it fun. The game constantly keeps you engaged and I find it super addictive. I just tend to get lulled into a false sense of security a lot in this one. Some of these Atari shooters are better than I expected them to be, and Megamania is definitely one of those. Perhaps one day I'll score 45,000 to become a Megamaniac, and if not, Well, at least I'm just a regular maniac. You guys probably knew that Demon Attack was gonna show up eventually. The funny thing about it is that this game sucks at playing itself in the demo. I mean, look at this. This game has become one of my favorite Atari 2600 discoveries though. The controls feel great, the enemies are fun to fight, and the gameplay loop is ridiculously addictive. This game has 2-player co-op, which sounds super fun as well. This is one of those games where you stop thinking about the hardware entirely, you're just focused on surviving. On a side note, Tracer mode is weird but interesting. Definitely give it a try. This game is like Defender on speed. I was not expecting this. The chopper is fast, and I feel it's even more intense than Defender. I'm a lot worse at it due to this though. I gotta say, I am impressed though. This game feels way more advanced than the average 2600 game. The scrolling works well, the controls are responsive, and there's constantly something happening on the screen. This is also one that has a 2-player mode. It's one of those games that help explain why Activision became a big deal during the Atari era. The quality speaks for itself. You could become a commando if you score 10,000 points. I probably can't pull it off though. A Beamrider is a breed all of its own. Part warrior, part astronaut, and part daredevil. Especially if you score 40,000 points. Beamrider is another game that feels surprisingly modern. The visuals, the constant action, everything comes together really well. Although I kinda wish it was a bit faster. This is one of those titles where you can immediately see the skill ceiling. I was nowhere near mastering it, but I definitely understood why people recommend it. Seaquest might be the biggest time thief on this entire list. Every time that I thought I was done, I had to keep on going. The combination of rescuing divers, managing oxygen, and fighting enemies keeps you constantly engaged. There's always something demanding your attention, another game where multitasking is a key, of course. And somehow, it all works well together. This is one of those games that really sold me on the Atari design. There's simple mechanics, but it's also very extremely addictive. One would say that this game has a lot of depth. See what I did there? Anyway, score 50,000 points to become part of the sub club. I wonder if you get a gift card to your favorite sub chain with that. If somebody asked me which Atari 2600 game that I've played feels the most modern, Enduro would be near the top of the list. It's actually kinda crazy. There's a day to night cycle, there's weather effects, there's progression, and this game does things I genuinely wasn't expecting from the 2600. And most importantly, it's fun. This is essentially the precursor to Rad Racer, which is a game that I loved as a kid. Check out that video. Yeah, I know it's a shameless plug. But here's the thing I keep coming back to with all these videos. Not whether these games were impressive for the year they came out, it's whether they're still fun now. And Enduro definitely is. It is now on my bucket list to one day race for 5 days consecutively to be an official roadbuster. So, those were 10 more Atari 2600 games that still hold up today. And honestly, the deeper I go into this library, the more respect I gain for what developers accomplished on this hardware. Not every game has aged perfectly, but the good ones, they're still capable of stealing a chunk of your time. Huge thanks again to everyone who recommended games after the last few videos. A lot of these picks came directly from you guys. Keep those suggestions coming though, because this Atari journey is definitely not over. By the way, I'm looking for the worst games now, so just bring it. If you enjoyed the video, let me know which game from today's list was your favorite. And if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and join the Ctrl+Alt army. Now if you excuse me, I think Enduro owes me about 3 hours of my life back. And that's a wrap. It is time to reboot. I will see you on the other side.